Can't we just like have fun anymore?
I agree, why is everything so boring? Well, mostly the American stuff.
I came across this infographic on Professor Noctis's Twitter, and I was looking at it and I was like, this is ridiculous. It was saying that Final Fantasy is completely woke, and I was like, oh, give me a break.
Nowhere does it say that it's completely. It says not and slightly. And also, where did he get that infographic? Because it can be made by a troll.
So I went ahead and I made a tweet about it too, and it got over 100,000 views in under 24 hours. So I'm like, okay, you know what? This seems to be a hot button issue. Let me make a full-fledged video about this.
So his tweet says, these woke grifter people are dumb AF. Yeah, a game made in 1991 is now woke. Leave my hobby alone and GTFO with your messiness. First of all, sure, woke is something new, a new label. But we are basically talking about corporations and the government forcing their ideology or their message. This is not something new. I saw nothing about banning. And from what I know, most people hate the woke just because of that. They are the ones that try to censorship and ban things. For example, Nexus mods. The mod that replaced the LGBTQ flag with other flags was banned. But replacing the American flags or other flags was completely okay. The mod didn't even replace the flag. They just used a different version of the game. The one made for the countries that don't allow the LGBTQ. So basically they didn't modify anything, they just used the version made by Sony. And they didn't only ban the mod, they also banned the person. And what about the mods that make a character white? Nexus mods also bans those mods, but they are completely okay with making characters black. So tell me again about censorship and banning.
Grifter people coming into my hobby and trying to ruin it and trying to ban games for no reason.
We didn't ban Dustborn, and we also didn't ask for changes in the game. We also didn't ban or censorship Concord, we just didn't want to play it. Or what about Veilguard or the God of War Ragnarok or Forbidden West? I don't see them being banned or censored. Some of us just decided to not play it. Sure, we made fun of them or complained about them, but we mostly told them what we want from our games, not that they have to do it. More exactly, we gave them our feedback. And I think that's very important.
This game is woke, we don't want this in our game. We want the games to be free.
So what's wrong with telling them what we don't want in our games? And I don't understand what you are trying to say with wanting our games to be free. Free in what way? You are talking about money? Or you are talking about creativity? For the developers to be free to make whatever they want? I seriously have no idea what you are trying to say with free. But I see nothing wrong with telling the companies that we don't want this in our games. But if a lot of people like it and they want it, they will still buy the game, so I see no issue. Because at the end of the day, a developer makes what the players want. Unless they want to go bankrupt.
But then whenever people make the game how they want it to be, they say, oh, this game is woke, we've got to ban that.
Again, Veilguard, Spider-Man, Concord, Dustborn, Forspoken, and the list goes on. These are games that are not banned. But they are games that didn't sell well. It's a difference. We buy the games that we want, that we like. But when you say that you ban something, that means that you have no options to buy it. And you talk about people making the game that they want to make. Most of those diversity hires even said that they don't care about gaming. Sweet Baby even said that their goal is to burn the gaming industry to the ground. It's not like we don't have a lot of proof. They said that. It's not a secret. And this is the main issue. These people don't have passion for gaming. They do not care about gaming. They just want to make free money. And they also want to control everything. Because this is the difference. They don't want to make a good game. They just want to force an ideology.
There's actually a group over on Steam that talks about DEI detected, and they're looking for DEI in games, diversity, equity, and inclusion in games, and if it has that, they're like, oh, no, 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 better cancel that.
You love to lie, don't you? First of all, DEI Detected was just a list of games that Sweet Baby had on their page. That now they deleted. Why would a company delete the games that they are working on? If you are a company working on something and you are proud of it, you usually show it. Because if it's good, people will want more and more. The issue with Sweet Baby was that all the games that they are working on were failures. And you may invent a lot of reasons why they are doing that. But when we talk about Sweet Baby, a company that said it's okay to intimidate corporations, mostly the PR marketing team, to do whatever they want, it is very hard to pretend that they are the good guys. And you can say about cancel that, cancel that. Where is the canceling?
Okay, Final Fantasy 13, not woke, contains no woke content. Okay, even though even though you have Saz with a chocobo living in his afro, and you literally have a lesbian couple with Fang and Vanille, no woke content.
I don't think you understand what woke is. For example, I don't have an issue with diversity, and most people don't have an issue with it. But when you talk about woke, you usually talk about forced diversity. For example, adding a black samurai just because it's a BLM movement, not because you had an interesting story to tell. You also overpay a DEI company that should care about diversity, inclusion, and equity, but somehow they cannot tell the difference between Japanese and Chinese. And they made a lot of mistakes for something that they are overpaid for. For something that they promise not to make. But you usually don't pay them because they are experts and because they are doing a great job. You are paying them just to stop criticism. Made up criticism. More exactly, game journalists making hit pieces. And I see no issue if it was something true, but they usually make it all up. You know what you didn't search for? If the Steam page that you are looking for is the original DEI Detected. Because there's a lot of clones of DEI Detected that wanted the same thing. But at his page I only see a few Square Enix games, and mostly the new ones. And he only says if the game was censored, or if a DA company worked on it. Again, nothing about canceling that game. Why is it so hard to use that list to play games that have DEI? Why do you assume if people know that the game has DEI in it, they will not play it? Oh yeah, because usually the game is bad. My point was that he never said anything about the old Final Fantasy games. And when we say that we hate DEI, we don't mean that we hate diversity. We just hate forced diversity. For example, I think Barrett from Final Fantasy VII is a great character.
However, let's look at a game released in 1991, Final Fantasy IV. That one is woke. Yeah, I know. It says that it contains subtly pro-LGBTQ plus messaging. Then it says see full review for spoilers. I looked for this review. I saw no review. And I'm like, racking my brain. I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, what are they talking about? The only thing that I could possibly think of that they're talking about is the male dancer in Fabul. Like, what? So, like, it's crazy to me.
Okay, as I said, that DI Detected that you probably found is a troll. And even if he's not, I agree that if a game contains LGBTQ stuff, that doesn't mean that the game is woke. As I already said, the issue is when the game forces LGBTQ stuff. And it has nothing to do with the story. It doesn't make the story better, funny, entertaining. It doesn't add value to the game.
Then it moves on to Final Fantasy VI, saying that there's no woke content in Final Fantasy VI, despite, a female lead. We can't have that.
By that logic, is Stellar Blade woke just because it has a female lead protagonist? It's Blue Reflection 1 and 2 also woke just because it only has female protagonists and characters? You see that the issue is not the female protagonists. And clearly, who made that list again, maybe it's a troll, I have no idea, I don't really care. But if you talk about stuff like this, you should at least be informed. People are not calling something woke just because it has a female protagonist or an LGBTQ person. It is about forced diversity. More exactly, you add a female protagonist or an LGBTQ person because you want that BlackRock money. And it is not hard to see that because they are not well implemented. For example, I loved Final Fantasy X Part 2. Yuna was the main protagonist, and it was mostly female characters as the main leads. But Star Wars Outlaws from Ubisoft or Forspoken, I mean, come on, you can see the difference, don't you?
Fantasy IX is now woke because of Kina. Because Kina is non binary or goes by he, she, or whatever the ambiguous gender. Like, come on. Can't we just have fun anymore?
Okay, so I didn't talk about the other Final Fantasy games that he talks about, the old ones, because I didn't play them. But I played this one, Final Fantasy IX. And I agree, it is stupid to say that the game is slightly woke just because it has Quina. First of all, Quina is not human. So, as much as I hate the word non binary, I guess you can call her that. Or he, whatever. I think the character is well implemented in the story, so I don't see how this is woke. Again, I think woke is when something is forced, not well implemented.
Final Fantasy VII woke because of pro climate action messaging and forced cross dressing. Yeah. Then it says you start the game working for an eco-terrorism group. Like, that's the whole message of the game.
And yeah, at last, Final Fantasy VII, my favorite game. The cross-dressing was part of the story and was well implemented. And the pro-climate stuff is really stupid. I mean, even today, what's so wrong in being pro-climate? My only issue with climate change today is that usually only the normal people have to suffer. Meanwhile, huge corporations and rich people have no issue doing the same thing, polluting as much as they want. For example, movie stars and other leaders are okay with telling you what to do and not to do and pay more taxes, while they can ride their private planes, having their huge parties on their huge yachts. My point is that being pro climate or pro environment is not woke. But the way they are forcing it, it is. And no, Final Fantasy VII has nothing to do with it. It is not forced, it's part of the game, and it is well implemented. It makes the story interesting.
It says that this one is woke because marriage is possible between any two players. Yeah.
I don't play MMOs, so I don't know a lot about this. If I want to marry my best friend in a MMO, I think I should be able to do that. I don't see how that affects the story or gameplay.
Stella, completely woke because there is a non-binary gender option, even though everybody, all your heroes look the same no matter what. Like, what does it freaking matter?
And this is the issue. It doesn't matter. This is what I'm talking about. It's not well implemented into the game. It is there just to get some social points. I don't know much about Harvestella, mostly because I prefer to play the superior version, the Atelier series. Harvestella looks like a cheap copy of Atelier. Maybe I'm wrong, I have no idea and I don't really care. But if they added non-binary, female, male, and it doesn't really matter, then it clearly is woke because they did it just for the social points. And you see that in many games. The female character usually has the same animations as the male character. So why do we even make a female character and a male character if they have the same animations? For example, Fighting Force, a game for PlayStation 1, has animations for female characters and male characters.
Then let's look at Trails Through Daybreak. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, it says features a story about two gay men in a love triangle. Contains an overtly pro-immigration messaging. Therefore, Trails series. The Trails series is now woke. Can't play that. Can't play Final Fantasy. Can't play Star Ocean. Can't play anything. Can't play anything according to these people. Oh, and that love triangle was like, it was so weird because there was this guy who was in love with his sister, okay? But the sister was in love with a gay guy, And then the gay guy was in love with his brother. Yeah, the whole thing was weird. And the worst part of it, of course, is the incest. Do they mention the incest? No! They mention the two gay men in a love triangle. Yeah, because that's the bad part.
I just started playing Trails in the Sky, so I don't know a lot about the Trails series. I finished Trails in the Sky Part 1 and I started Part 2, but then I saw that they are remaking Part 1, so I want to play it again when it's released this year. Again, I don't agree that everything that contains LGBTQ stuff or female protagonists or black characters is woke. So I'm pretty sure that the game is not woke. I mean, I didn't play this game, but it seems that the characters are part of the world building of the story, and their sexual orientation is made to create drama or make the story better. So I don't see anything being forced.
Chained Echoes, woke! Because it includes a plus-size person of color queen and interspecies relationships in a fantasy game. Like, these are some of the best games ever made, and they're saying that they're woke.
Okay, Chained Echoes is not part of the best games ever made. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I think it's a game that was inspired by Chrono Trigger, but I'm not sure. I bought the game, I didn't like the gameplay very much, nothing about the story captured me, and I ended up refounding the game. I'm not sure if the game is woke and I don't really care. I did not find the game interesting. Also, at the start of the game, you see a gay relationship. It is about a gay person who lost his gay boyfriend or husband. I don't know, when I saw that I lost interest and I refounded the game. Is it because it's woke? Nope. It's mostly because I didn't care about the characters. The story seemed to be all over the place, at least the beginning of the game. But if the developer wanted to make a game like this, I have no issue with that. He can make a game only with gay characters, but that doesn't mean I have to play it or pay for it. I also think that Baldur's Gate 3 is not a bad game, but that game is definitely woke. And that's not the main reason that I didn't finish that game or like it. It's mostly because I never cared about the characters. They didn't make me want to know the characters better. I didn't feel like I want a relationship in the game. Nothing about the game made me interested. The gameplay was kind of cool, but it was mainly about luck. And I hated this because I chose by mistake a different dialogue, and I made some characters hate me. So I reloaded the game from my last save. The issue was that in this new gameplay, I started failing every dice roll. So the game annoyed me even more, and this is the main reason I stopped playing after a few hours. So yeah, I don't usually play a game if I don't like the characters, if I don't like the relationship in the games, if the game has stuff like that. And of course, very important, the gameplay, the environment, and this is what I mean. When a game is usually woke, they don't really care about that. They just try to force their ideology. So everybody should make the games that they want to make. But don't pretend that the woke isn't harming the gaming industry, because they don't have passion for video games. This is why most of them never worked or cared about video games until now. Or somehow they want to change the games that they say they love with Sushi Squad, Concord, and other games that even they don't play it. Or maybe they play it, but the numbers are so low that it doesn't matter. The excuse with Concord was that people don't want hero shooters anymore. But then comes Marvel Rivals. So the issue wasn't hero shooters, the issue was the wokeness. Because you see, most people don't want to play with ugly characters, non-binaries or whatever. We prefer beautiful characters. This is why Tifa is loved by everybody. This is why merchandise with her sells a lot. I'm not saying that every character should be like her. I mean, for example, I played Dave the Diver and I love that game. But I love that game because it was made to be fun.